Hello and welcome to the 2Franks! Today I want to present to you my top 10 favorite PS4 games from worst to best as of September 2018. This list is not an objective list of the best games, and rather a list of which games I personally had the best time with. So I promise you there will be a few shockers here. This list also does not include ports, remasters or remakes. With that said, let's do what my girlfriend always tells me to do and get into it. That was a terrible joke. Number 10. Persona 5. I have just finished Persona 4 Golden in October 2016, which is 4 months before the release of Persona 5 in January 2017. It was a spontaneous buy because the game was on sale for $10 and I always heard it's a must play. Once I started playing it, I instantly fell in love, and it became one of my favorite games ever. So naturally, I got very excited for the release of Persona 5. Unfortunately, the timing of the release was kinda bad. I just started my mandatory civil service and I was in kind of a bad state because of that. Plus, I didn't really have any time to play anyway, but nevertheless, I took a sick day, or 2, or 50, and somehow managed to play through the game over the next month or so. I really loved it. The story, the dungeons, the fights, the open world that isn't really an open world, but you have to choose your activities wisely every day, and have to choose with friends you spend more time with, which is something I don't get to do in real life, because I don't have any friends. It was really mesmerizing. Somehow I just didn't fall in love with the characters and build a real emotional friendship with them as much as I did in the predecessor, and therefore it was a bit disappointing to me and quote-unquote only makes 10th place out of like 150 games I've played, by the way. Number 9, and this might already be the first surprise for some of you, Driveclub. This game's release was a huge mess that unfortunately even ended in the studio being closed. RIP Evolution Studios. It had to be delayed multiple times, ended up not being a launch title as planned, the free PlayStation Plus edition was promised for release and didn't arrive for months after, and when finally Driveclub did release, the servers, and with that the strong point of the game, the whole club part, including multiplayer, didn't work. Despite all of that, I love this game. The graphics were and still are incredible and made for stunning pictures. I spent more time in this game's photo mode than I played other games in total. That's not a joke. The handling was a perfect mix of sim and arcade, and you could also adjust it more to one side or the other in the settings. The tracks were great, campaign was very well done. New cars and events were added over the course of a year, and once the servers finally did work, multiplayer was really awesome. The clubs and how you could send challenges around to other clubs or players, where they have to set where they have a set. I swear, guys, I can't talk normal. I can't talk normal if I really try. I'm just, I'm not even trying. So yeah, you set these challenges, and the other club or player has a set amount of time to beat your score, your time that you needed for a lap, or your drift score, and that was so much fun. And I still remember very fondly how my brother and I used to sit there for hours dueling each other in a drift challenge, while at the same time trying to get the highest score in total and get some XP for our club. And that was so much fun. We played this game for a long time after beating the campaign, and it's probably still the best racing game on PlayStation 4, just to make that clear. Number 8 is Final Fantasy 15. I have never played a Final Fantasy before, but I was fairly excited for 15, especially because it finally featured real-time combat, and I always wanted to get into the series and more JRPGs in general. Yet, I actually didn't pick the game up on release because I was broke, and yeah, I still am. So I got it quite a while later on sale, of course right before the complete edition release for the exact same price that I paid, and I didn't play it for a while again because I was preoccupied with other games. But 3 or 4 months ago though, I finally got myself to playing it and I had such a great time. The story was amazing, the open world and graphics are gorgeous. I enjoyed exploring this world so much, apart from the dungeons. I fucking hate dungeons. I enjoyed the fighting system, the boss fights, and most of the quests felt meaningful and fun. But the best part was how immersed I felt in that world and the friendship with the other characters. The way you travel and have to make camp and eat and do everything together with your squad and the conversations you hold with them really add to that immersion. Even though I completed everything in the game and got the platinum and max level and all that shit, I still find myself wanting to play it again, just to revisit that world and hang out with my friends. I miss them. Of course, that might just be because I don't have any friends in real life. Did I mention that already? Feels like I mentioned that already. Number 7 is Killzone Shadowfall. My then best friend and I waited all night in front of the store to get our hands on a launch PS4 which was sold out literally everywhere. In the morning there were hundreds of people waiting there, but we got in first, grabbed ourselves a PS4, and I got 2 copies of Killzone for me. I have to be polite of course, for my brother and me. Or is it for my brother and I? I don't know, I don't care. I'm not American, I don't speak English. Of course, my brother wasn't even able to get a PS4 anywhere for months, so that was kind of pointless. However, we played the campaign together, and while it wasn't as good as Killzone 1, 2 or 3, it was an awesome showcase of the abilities of the PS4. The graphics were amazing and beat any shooters, even up to date. And while the story wasn't the best, the gameplay was certainly very good. There's variety in scenery and gameplay, and we had a good time. The real fun, however, started in multiplayer. I already played it when I had no one to play it with, but once my brother finally got a PS4, we always played Killzone together. While I did miss the ability from Killzone 3 where you could cloak yourself as an enemy and stab all the enemies in the back, it still greatly improved upon the previous game and is one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. I love the class system, the abilities like going invisible for a sniper, placing turrets, air support drones or throwing new spawn points on the map, and the gunplay was simply perfect. It did have a shitty rank system though, where you didn't earn XP and rank up like in a normal shooter, and instead you had to kind of beat challenges and your rank was like how many challenges you beat, so that was really disappointing, but nevertheless, I really love this game and I would still play it if it wasn't kinda dead by now. Unfortunate. Number 6 is Steep. My brother and I played and streamed the beta of this game live on this very channel. We had so much fun and there are some clips of that in our best moments video, which you should definitely check out if you haven't yet, link is in the description. Also, subscribe, because we live stream every day except for Sunday, and I try to make videos like this as often as I can. Anyway, back to the game. There wasn't really a winter sport game around for a while, and Steep was just a ton of fun. Snowboarding and skiing both felt good and had a good trick system. Wingsuiting was very difficult, like very difficult, but it was really fun to try and get faster times or more points by flying closer to obstacles. And paragliding was... well, paragliding was absolutely fucking boring as hell, but it was only a few events, so it wasn't that bad. The open world was awesome to explore and offered great spots to make your own challenges, and it was really encouraging to do so, to share them with your friends. And the story events were all fun and some of them very challenging. Like I'm talking about like 200 tries to get gold challenging. Yet we actually didn't get this game on release again, because we were invited to the launch event. That was like an exclusive event that you needed an invite for, and we got invited for the launch event of Steep in Lucerne. We spent our whole budget, which was very big, to get there, thinking they hand out the game for free, and in truth we couldn't even fucking buy the game there. So yeah, we didn't get it, but it always remained one of the games I regretted not playing, and I got the complete edition a while later on a sale, which included a sledge and a jetpack DLC, and I got gold in every single event because it was fucking fun as hell. So yeah, it was an absolutely great experience. It was fun, challenging, and beautiful at every moment, and I really loved it. Well, maybe not fun at every moment, it was actually very frustrating at some moments, and I wanted to fucking throw my controller at the wall, but I don't do that because I can't afford a new one. But, on to the next game. Number 5, Mark McMorris, Infinite Air. Now this one is going to be a shocker for most people. Or maybe it won't, because they have never even heard of this game. And I don't blame them. When we played this at launch, it was buggy as hell. There were countless glitches and problems because the game hasn't actually been refined properly. I don't even remember if there was some kind of story to it, but if there was, it wasn't very good. The graphics were nothing great, and there wasn't much going on online because the game probably didn't sell very well. But it did have two things going for it. It was the first snowboard game released on the PS4, and I can't even remember a good one on PS3 since SSX is absolute trash. And it had a great trick system, in my opinion. My brother hated it. I remember live streaming this and taking about 2 hours to get the first challenge. A backflip over a kicker, because the trick system was so weird and difficult. You had to think about what trick you want to do before jumping and accurately calculate the length of the jump, because as soon as you were in the air, you had no control anymore until you landed. So if you overturned your flip, boom, on your face. That clip is also in our best moments video, by the way, and I urge you to check it out. It's really hilarious. But while this system was tough to get into, it was very rewarding and worked well. It was also the only thing that worked well, because as I said, the game wasn't actually very good. But it did what was important well, and it was fun. And the career mode was pretty cool. Get it? Cool? Because it's a snowboarding game, so yeah, never mind. It had nice slopes, and it was partially very challenging, which is something I personally like. Plus, it was a really great experience live streaming, because, as I said, we live streamed this game. We live stream every day except for Sunday, and that was really great because we had most of the developers of the game on the stream giving us tips, talking to us, taking feedback and stuff like that. And we got a shit ton of views, even for today's standards, which was great and probably a big part of why I remember this game. Why I remember this game so fondly. So yeah, takes my number 5. Now we're getting into the area where I had a very difficult time actually ranking these games, because I kind of love all of them equally, but I tried my best, so here we go. Number 4 is Bloodborne. Now before Bloodborne came out, I haven't really played a Souls game. I kind of played Dark Souls 2, but I was completely unprepared, had no idea what it was, and I just tried to rush through it to record videos. Needless to say, I just died over and over and hated it and never touched it again. But Bloodborne looked intriguing to me, and I signed up for the alpha. Funny enough, that turned out about the same, and I also hated that. I just died over and over and didn't understand the level design at all, and I had no idea what I was doing. But something made me want to play more. I honestly don't know what. Maybe it was just that I don't like to give up on a challenge. Somehow when I'm really bad at something, I want to play it more and get good, or get good, as some people say. So maybe it was that. So I decided to get this game on release for some dumb reason. But this time I wanted to be prepared. So I watched some videos about the Souls games, the level design, and I learned, for example, that there are shortcuts you have to unlock so that you don't have to always go around the whole map, for example. Did I say for example twice? I'm pretty sure I did. Just ignore one of them, I don't care which. So yeah, this time I knew what I was doing. And I'm really glad that I did that. This game was such a unique and new experience. I can't express to you the feeling of progressing far into an area and feeling completely terrified, because if you die, you have to start all over again. So you try to exactly memorize the map and your path, because there is no map in this game, and you try to find shortcuts so that you don't lose your progress if you die, and that is so scary. Don't even get me started on combat, especially boss fights. Seeing the boss's health go down and you think, oh fuck, just 2 more hits and he's dead, just don't die now. And of course you do die, but when you finally beat him it is so satisfying and rewarding. Those are basically the 2 emotions you feel when playing Bloodborne, or I guess any Souls game. I still haven't played another one. That's basically terror and relief. So the game has awesome level design, beautiful artwork, outstanding combat, and with the transformable weapons where you can like switch them from one weapon to another, that really gave it an edge for me. And it was just the Souls games are just a great concept. And even when I replayed it now to just get some clips, I was like, yeah, I don't have to beat this boss, I just want to get some clips of me fighting him. And then I was like, no, I have to beat him now. So I tried for like 2 hours until I finally beat him. It's so addicting. And that's why Bloodborne is my Bloodborne is my number 4. What the fuck's going on here? Number 3 is God of War. Now for God of War I have to reach back to the announcement. My brother and I played every single God of War so far. He played them before me and then introduced them to me, or me to them. Not sure which way, what he said first, like, hey, this is God of War, and this is 2Franks, you know, whatever. But yeah, we played all of them, and every year, every PlayStation conference, we were hoping for a God of War trailer, for a new God of War. And when they started their E3 2016 conference with a soundtrack that sounded pretty God of War-ish, I actually didn't think it was gonna happen anymore. I was like, yeah, that's never gonna happen. But then the first trailer of the conference starts, and after about 50 seconds of wondering what it might be, a man steps out of the shadow that can only be Kratos. I got chills, and I still get chills just thinking about it. It was insane. Everyone was screaming, and I didn't believe my eyes for days. So when it finally arrived, almost 2 years later, I really wasn't ready. I actually didn't want to play it. I was scared that maybe it wasn't good, or it wouldn't live up to the name, or maybe Kratos wouldn't be the same anymore, or some other dumb shit. Boy, was I wrong. That was a terrible Kratos impression. I'm not gonna do another one. Don't worry. This game is fucking amazing. I don't know how they did it, but they transformed a man, or half-god, filled with rage and hatred that literally killed a whole pantheon into a wise father teaching his son. They moved from Greece to Norse mythology, or from Greek to Norse mythology rather, and it is absolutely beautiful. Everything about this game is perfect. The story is intriguing and emotional, and the relationship between Kratos and Atreus seems real. The graphics and scenery are stunning, the combat is somehow even better than before, the dialogue is always interesting, even when you're just rowing on the lake, all of a sudden they're starting to tell a story about a fucking scorpion and the frog or some shit, and it's so interesting. And the gameplay and the quests stay challenging and interesting over the whole 50 hours of playtime. Plus, it has one of the toughest boss fights I have ever played in my life. Took me about 10 hours to get it. So yeah, I really don't know what else to say. That's my phone going off. And if you haven't played it, or any God of War, go and play all of them right now. This series is a masterpiece. It is art. It is one of the best stories ever written in my opinion. And I can't wait for the next entry. Number 2 is Uncharted 4. I love the Uncharted series. I played the first one about 7 times, and the second and third maybe 4 times each, maybe more. I didn't really count. And there's actually a funny story about Uncharted 4 as well. Isn't my life interesting? I have so many funny stories and shit, you know? Such a cool guy. A few days before release, before release of Uncharted 4, not of my life, PlayStation Switzerland and Uber cooperated in a promotion for Uncharted 4. And I don't remember how we found out about this, but there was an Uber, an Uncharted Uber, which was just a cheap paint with Uncharted, driving around my city, and I think multiple cities in Switzerland, which if you were able to catch it as an Uber on the app, and we did, drove you around for about 15 minutes and you had to solve a puzzle to get a code, kind of like an escape room. And the winners then got a Uncharted edition PS4, like not an Uncharted edition, but an Uncharted edition PS4, which, you know, a PS4 painted with Uncharted. I'm making this way too complicated. Including the game, and everyone who participated got a copy of the game. Well, we didn't win. I'm way too dumb for that, and apparently so is my brother. I really hope he doesn't see this video. But we at least got a copy a copy of the game, so... But the thing is, that also took forever to arrive, and we only got it about 2 weeks after release. Anyway, when we finally got to play it, it was obviously awesome. Otherwise it wouldn't be my number 2, duh. I'm not sure if it's my favorite Uncharted, but I really loved how different it was. It was beautiful and witty as always, but it also had a very serious tone to it, which they probably kind of learned that from The Last of Us. So in this game, Drake is now an adult, a husband and a father, and he left his old life behind until his dead brother suddenly shows up, that is, and he needs his help. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I don't remember how I felt the first time playing this that well, but when I played it a second time before Lost Legacy came out, it really hit me in the feels, especially the beginning and the end. And I really enjoyed that they made a more serious, story-focused game, similar to The Last of Us, as I said. And like I said, the gameplay was really fun as always. There were some clever puzzles, and the scenery and the graphics are absolutely breathtaking. And I really enjoyed how they ended. Unfortunately, it's over, but I really enjoyed how they ended the series, and I think it's deserving.
What are the satellites saying, Victor?
Right now, not a goddamn thing. I've lost the signal.
Hey, you know what never loses signal? Paper.
And finally, my number 1 favorite PS4 games as of September 2018, Horizon Zero Dawn. Once again, I actually did not play this game on launch, whereas my brother did. I was extremely busy at that time, and I already started Fallout 4 over, which I didn't finish the first time, and I had to start over, and I did not want to start it a third time, so I decided to finish that first. But as a fan of guerrilla games, I was super excited for this game, even before it was announced. And when it was, I mean, robot dinosaurs, this was going to be epic. And when I finally did play it, all my very high expectations were exceeded by kilometers, or miles for all the Americans out there. There are a few, apparently. Horizon is so beautiful. The world is just absolutely breathtaking. Especially once you unlock the bigger part of the map and get out of that starting area. But even that is so beautiful. It looks staggering, and it is so diverse as well. The combat is amazing. There are so many different ways to approach a fight, especially depending on which equipment you choose to use. And the enemy design is insane. There are all kinds of different robot dinosaurs, and each new one you find is crazier than the last one. There's, you know, the equivalent of a T-Rex, there's birds, there's invisible guys, there's fire spitting dragon things. It's crazy. Every single quest felt meaningful and was enjoyable, and there is great variety in the gameplay. But what really blew me away and surprised me was the story. I don't know why, but I didn't expect it to be good, and especially not this good. So it is interesting at every point of the game, and I always wanted to know how it's going to continue. And what you think is the story at the beginning actually turns out to be something much bigger and awesomer. That's not a word, but I'm gonna use it anyway. It is an emotional journey that I really loved taking, and I loved being Aloy for the 70+ hours I spent in this world. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know your favorite games in the comments, and I would greatly appreciate a like. Please subscribe to the channel for more content. You can help me out by following my Twitter, sharing this video with everyone you know, donation, whatever you want. Links are all in the description. Check out our best moments video in the description, and just thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have an awesome day or night or weekend or life or whatever. Peace out from the 2Franks.